a large part of my life's mission is to try to inspire people to question their path in life, what they're doing with their time, because it's really easy to just be born into this world, go through the school system, eat the junk food, and then just fall into the current where everyone else is not swimming but just floating. And once you start floating, the system gives you some, like, some benefit. You might get a decent job and make good money. You think everything's good. The system will give you some friends to get drunk with every weekend. And, it's comforting. The little river that you float down, the lazy river that you float down, that the Matrix wants you to just go along with the current. It's comforting, isn't it? You develop an ego and you think you're super important, and, it makes you feel like you've accomplished something when in fact you're just floating down a river that leads to an imminent death. Because if you float down that river, ladies and gentlemen, if you just go with the life that the Matrix has preordained or predetermined for you, it means by default that you will not have your internal compass calibrated. There's a handful of vices that come with floating down the Matrix's current, because it takes you. You are now floating down a river. You are not swimming, which is just a metaphor for you being pushed in one direction instead of you being the commander in the boat and swimming wherever the fuck you want. I speak in metaphors. I speak in parables. It's easier for the subconscious mind to integrate this information when I do so. Think about it. If you just float down a current, you don't have any resistance. You're just going wherever it takes you. Blissfully ignorant, spiritually drunk. However, if you get off that little floaty that you're on and realize that, what the hell, I'm not in control here. This is not right. You can jump off the floaty and swim across the river and get out and realize that you shouldn't have even been in the water to begin with. And then you can start going up the mountain of self-evolution, self-growth, self-introspection, self-transformation, spiritual transformation, physical transformation, all of it. But unfortunately, it's much more, due to the fact that ignorance is bliss, isn't it going to be easier for you to just float down the stream with all your friends who are doing it as well, and the masses? Drunk, drinking, just like, again, ignorance is bliss. But the way that the Matrix throws you into your life, it makes you think based on mind control that the river is all that there is. They don't want you to think that you can get out of the fucking river. So what am I trying to convey here? It's really important that you guys understand this, I think. I really want you to understand this, excuse me. What I'm saying is that, and I've said this in videos in the past as well, we came here to be one with God, to be drenched in God's love through Kundalini, through a handful of different spiritual mechanisms. The Matrix, however, takes us at a young age, exposes us to certain things that drastically changes every aspect of who we are, including our assemblage point, our energetic field, and in doing so, we lose sight of what we came here to do, and we start going down a different path in life that the Matrix has predetermined and laid out for us. And when you engage in the path that the Matrix has laid out for us, it takes away your childhood, awe at life. It takes away the magic of reality and replaces it with conformity. And then it puts you through the school system, and everyone else is doing this. But subtle, some people are rebelling, but they, for the most part, like cattle, get herded into a very specific bandwidth of energy, of consciousness. And now everyone is kind of in a similar bandwidth of energy. Now, once you're in that bandwidth of energy, once you start taking the first few miles, the journey, once you start taking the first, 50 miles or 300 miles down the path that the Matrix predetermines for you, it makes it exceptionally more difficult to get back on track with the life that God laid out for you. And so the wheel turns. I hope that makes sense. Now, the metaphor here is that the Matrix's current The Matrix life is like floating down a river. It propels you. You are subjected to whatever happens to you because you don't have any control. You might be floating down the river one moment in the sunshine drinking a Coors Light, and the next minute you're about 3, 4, 5 feet away from a giant waterfall. Again, I'm trying to exemplify here or demonstrate a lack of will. You are not in control when you go through the motions in life. Now, unfortunately, when you've gone down the river really far or far enough, you think that that's all that there is. You've completely detached your assemblage point from God's mission for you or God's purpose for you. And you will remain blissfully ignorant to the fact that you're plugged in. You're not even aware now that you're plugged in. You're in a dream within a dream within a dream. You're lost. Not knowing that you can just jump out of that stupid little floaty, swim to the side of the river, get out, and exercise your leg muscles. Start to walk up the hill. And the hill is a metaphor for you, ladies and gentlemen, getting back to God's mission for you or your purpose here in life. It's going to take some effort. Instead of going downhill, you've got to go back uphill because you've just gone downhill. You've got to get back on track. And getting back on track oftentimes comes with some discomfort and some personal challenges and some obstacles. And those are uncomfortable to the triggered masses. So let's all just remain asleep and float down the fucking river and hope that everything's okay. It's insane. The lack of control people have over their own lives. It's insane. The lack of control people have over their own health. We're going to talk about that in a minute because that's really important. And that has a lot to do with living the Matrix's predetermined life for you. You have no control over your health because you just think that, so many things that I want to put into words that I'm struggling to right now, ladies and gentlemen. So we have to get our internal compass back on track. We do that through the inner temple exercise that I recommend often here on my Patreon page. I have a video about it. I'll put links in the description box to it so you can watch that video. It's crucial. It's a 30-minute video. You have to start going into your inner temple. You have to start coming into contact with your own personal power source. You have to start exposing yourself to the 4 elements, the 4 elemental gateways that are found in your inner temple. The 4 elements will teach you how to get back in track with your life. The pentagram will teach you. That's why I have a video about the pentagram rituals, and just the symbol of the pentagram is absolute perfection, ladies and gentlemen. Integrating that symbol into your inner temple and into your inner mind will help reformat your subconscious. But that's an entirely different rant for a different video. I don't want to get caught up on that and repeat myself. I think it's like an hour and 10-minute video, a couple of them where I talk about what pentagram rituals are and why they're so important for reformatting your mind and recalibrating your inner compass. Just remember that all obstacles are stepping stones for growth, ladies and gentlemen. In that there is some truth in the fact, or in the notion, or the axiom, if you will, that nothing good in life comes easy. Would you want everything to come easy? Suffering builds character, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up. We're in the Matrix. And oftentimes, you don't even have to. Oftentimes, the biggest journey or the biggest obstacle is you just swimming getting out of your raft and getting onto shore. For some people, I'd say for 90% of people, you just realizing that you just getting to the shore, metaphorically speaking, is 90% of the journey. There's not going to be some monumental hill. The real struggle for people is getting off the raft, because it requires you to realize that you were wrong, and it requires you to take personal responsibility for every aspect of your life instead of depending on doctors and all the other nonsense, the system, the government to take care of you. It requires you to take back your captured mind and create a mind of your own and to be unique. And that's not something that's very commonplace in the Matrix. So I don't want to make it seem like it's going to be some huge obstacle for you to get back on track. It's not. However, it can be very difficult for people to change directions in their life. That's where most of the struggle is. That's why in the movie The Matrix, Morpheus says to Neo, we never wake someone up when they've reached a certain age. When they've reached I don't even remember if Morpheus specifies what age he was referring to. But he was saying that after multiple years of living in the Matrix, the mind becomes so hopelessly connected to it and a part of the Matrix. The mind becomes such infused into the Matrix that to try to disconnect it from the Matrix actually causes more harm than good. That movie was highly metaphoric, highly symbolic. That whole movie was very similar to the story I just depicted with the river. Neo in that movie, in the first Matrix film, he's going down the fucking river. But as he's going down the river, he starts to become privy to the fact that, wait a second, there's something wrong here. I have no control over my life. And he starts looking around at all the other people on the rafts around him, metaphorically speaking, and noticing that they're like just half dead, just floating, have no personal unique qualities. They're just carbon copies, clones, if you will. They're going down a predetermined path. They're in the Matrix. When Neo gets unplugged, he gets out of the damn river. So, there's a handful of things I tried to convey there. Hopefully it came out of my mouth in a way that so that you can understand it the way that I do. Because looking at these things symbolically can really help you quantum leap with making decisions and whatnot. Getting out of the analytical mind and looking at things symbolically. It's like, wait a second, I don't have enough control over my life. I'm not happy. Something's not right here. This isn't the way I was designed to be. Let me change my direction in life and uplift myself, take my power back, create a connection with God, and watch how things change.